Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this Daily Hindu Analysis video. In the morning, these videos come. In the evening, PIB videos come, and I hope you people are watching both these lessons. Both are important, both are having separate set of data and important MCQs I am discussing in both these lessons. And the PIB data is much more important because it is actually covering the current affairs portion and the schemes and all the PIB data and their MCQs. And extremely important that part is for the prelims stage. So 29th of March and the time is running fast. Let's start with the lesson. These are the numbers there you can call and you can ask for these pendrive courses by StudyIQ, and all updated courses are there. You can order them by calling on this number. And friends, accept your mistakes. Always the progress starts with accepting your own mistakes. Everyone makes mistake, but the process is, the first step is that you accept your mistakes, accept your lacks, then only you can improve. If you keep escaping from the situation, if you keep saving yourself from the punishment, then you will never improve. That is the thing. And in this time when anxieties are very high, then you need patience and you need acceptance, and then only you can perform. Next, the first MCQ that I gave to you yesterday, Karman line. You see, we actually launched the A set, and when these kind of discussions are there in highlight, then the data from the space that becomes much more important in the prelims examination. Every year UPSC is asking these kind of information. So Karman line is actual line. It is not actually a line, it's a virtual line which defines the separation of Earth's atmosphere and outer space. So this is Karman line, and they may ask you about it because low Earth orbit, high Earth orbit, and the communication satellites which are placed at 35,000 kilometer height, and the imaging satellites which are there in around 4, 5, 6, 700 kilometers height, International Space Station, its height. So all these kind of data are very important this year. They may ask you. Next, India's share at present is almost 7%. We saw this data 2 days back when it was saying that USA is having very less population in comparison to India, but it has 14% of emission, and it is 14% of the total emission of the world, and 7% is taken by India. Although India's per capita emission is world's 40%, world's average is if we consider that 100% world's average, then India's per capita emission is only 40%. So these are the data, and this was in the report of Global Energy Transition Index and some other important reports. Next, the most important one, when we are talking about these schemes like Nyaya which are proposed, and income transfer schemes, basic income schemes for the poorest ones, then the definition of poor, that is not still clear in India. That becomes much more important, and the indexes regarding the poverty, they are the most important things. So Global Multidimensional Poverty Index, MPI, it was developed not in 1948, it was developed later, and Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative, OPHI, that is the institute, and that releases it annually. It developed this particular index with the UNDP, the biggest group under the United Nations. So this would be a wrong statement because the year was not correct. And next, there are dimensions, 3 important dimensions: education, health, and living standard. And among these dimensions, there are 10 indicators. If any person, because this index assesses the situation on individual level, so if any person is lacking in more than 1/3 of these indicators, then that person would be counted as multidimensional poor. So this statement would be wrong here, and D none is the correct answer here. It was developed in 2010, not in 1914, and OPHI, it releases it, and it replaced the Human Poverty Index which was there with UNDP first. And if we talk about the additional data here, it is covering 100 developing countries, not developed countries, MPI, and it is useful as an analytical tool to identify the most vulnerable people. So this may be a great help in identifying the poorest of the poor in India, as we have the BPL category and all, but these things are not very much accepted by all, and great consensus is not there. The formula is H into A if we are about to calculate MPI, H is percentage of the people who are MPI poor, and A means average intensity of the MPI poverty across the poor. And these are the dimensions, as I told you, and these are indicators. They are having their equal weightages. Child mortality and nutrition, you see all three, they are having one third and one third part, and we can divide all these indicators according to that. Okay, so that is the thing. You can see here in the education, schooling and school attendance, in health, child mortality and nutrition is also added here. So it is giving a very realistic and a detailed picture of the poverty. And the assets are also there. You see, cooking fuel, housing, drinking water, sanitation, electricity, all these are important things which we use in our living standard, and they show our particular economic condition, and these assets are much more important. So detailed account is given by this MPI index. So that is very, very important. This year there may be a question on it, and these are the words that I found, and you can use them into sentences. Next, we are going to talk about these articles. This is the article we are going to talk about, and it is talking about the Urban Employment Guarantee Program, that it is the time when we are thinking about it, and we should launch the programs like Narega in the urban areas. So important for GS paper 2, important for the development issue, important for the unemployment issue, important for the balanced approach for growth model in India. So this is important for that. So we are going to discuss that, and we are not going to discuss this. This is important because it's a repeated information. As I told you, India has become the 4th nation after USA, China and Russia, and we have this capability. Now it is to be discussed on the international level that it is going to give boost to the space race and actually arms race in the space area. So it is not a simple thing, it's not a localized thing, and this capacity was needed by India, and nobody, as I told you, nobody can stop us from developing these capabilities. But when it is about space, where space treaty is also there, that the peaceful use can only be there. But if these powerful countries, they start these races in the space, then where it is going to stop, and what kind of dimensions there would be. Today there are no conflicts like that, there are no intentions, there are no issues like that. Okay, but the suspicion over the future is there. But till now it is the great addition in our capabilities, and this thing was needed, and the biggest credit goes to our agencies, and mainly space owned agencies like ISRO, DRDO. And the debate can also be there regarding other state owned institutions and PSUs, that why they are not working with efficiency, why they are struggling, like HAL or any other important PSU like BSNL is in much danger these days. And here these are the state agencies which are working, and they are actually posing excellent performance here, and they are comparable to the global institutions, global organizations, and there is no doubt that the genius minds are working here. So the same situation, why it is not there with other PSUs and state owned agencies? So this is a great question for mains here. Okay, so this is important for GS paper 3 and 2 also. Political wills issue is also discussed here, and when the national address was there by our Prime Minister, now this issue has been extended to Election Commission of India also, whether it was any kind of flouting of norms during this model code of conduct which is there. Next, dangerous president. It is also the talked about issue where I told you that Trump is openly supporting Israel here, and it is actually legitimizing that the annexation of Golan Heights in 1981 by Israel is okay, it has no problem, and we should consider Golan Heights as the part of Israel now. But this has invited a lot of flag from the international community. All these countries, they are not supporting this move, and they are saying that Trump has become the first president in the history who is openly being biased towards Israel. Although Israel always had the support, but that was indirect support, and in the US international policy till now, they did not consider these things as openly as Trump is considering now. And Trump and the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, they both have these images that their particular ways are anti-Muslim most of the times, and they are openly talking about these issues, and officially they don't accept this thing, but the kind of extremism which is there in their ideologies, that is a problem, and these kind of allegations are very common between these both for both these leaders. So it has become a bone of contention that why this move, why America first said that Jerusalem should be the capital of Israel and we should declare it officially, we all should accept that, and the embassy was also shifted from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem by Trump. And now this move when Golan Heights is being considered by America the integral part of Israel. So these things are problematic. Syria has invited the United Nations to call for a particular meeting where this move has become very controversial. So this is a important issue, dangerous precedent as it is setting, because the world is moving towards protectionism, and different kinds of cold wars, they are already there in this world. And if these kind of moves which are actually dangerous, till now these are only trade wars, tariff wars like situations, but these kind of moves, they can take this world toward armed conflicts, because territory annexation is not a small issue. And certainly Syria has also vowed against this move, and it said that we will take back our territory. So in 1967 it all started after the 6 days war, and it has reached up to this. So this is about it, and not much is there, and big articles are going to come on this issue because it is not a small issue. So many more articles we will see in the upcoming weeks, so there we will discuss that. This is not important for us, and we will discuss that. Now start the shape of an urban employment guarantee. As you see, such a program will not only improve work incomes but also have the multiplier effects on economy. How? This is the thing. You see, MNREGA was there. MNREGA came as an employment guarantee program, and this act was so important that it addressed all the hidden issues and particular problems which are normally there with the schemes. The problem of payments, the problem of the guaranteeing the particular service, and a problem of support system if any problem is there. So all these things were addressed in this act only. So that is why this has become the most successful act of all times after independence for the rural poor. And mainly when seasons are not there and crops are not there in the fields, and harvesting seasons are over, then the time which is there where there is no employment available for these people, NREGA has become the most important tool. And it is not only giving employment, it is actually improving the infrastructural system of the rural areas, and that has become the most important thing. And that is why this thing is continuing. Present government also endorsed this particular scheme, and now when employment situation is like that it has reached up to 6.1% according to the leaked data of NSSO, the PLFS report, the periodic labor force survey report. And the problem is so dire in the urban areas where it is normally considered that employment opportunities are always there and there is no problem of employment in the cities. But now the problem is so severe, it is more than 7.5% of unemployment ratio in the urban areas. In rural areas it is less than that. So this thing is just opposite what the normal expectations are. Now see, this is the time when we need to think about a particular issue of imbalanced growth in this country, where metro cities, they are overburdened and they are facing all kinds of population problems, demographic problems, disease problems, epidemics are always there, and problem of service deliveries are there, and it is nearly impossible to survive for the poor people in metro cities these days. The kind of you see, the inflations are there, things are very expensive, rents are very high, all because the migration is towards these metro cities. It is not going away. Only at the instance of a demonetization, when the cash payments were not available for these laborers, at that time only they went back to their villages. Otherwise, every migration is towards the metro cities, and hardly 5 to 10 cities are like that in India, where whole lot of population from villages and these small towns, all people are moving towards these metro cities. And according to our census report, 4041 cities are there where these urban local bodies are there, whether they are panchayats, municipal councils, corporations and all. And out of these 4041, around 10 are the great cities in India where maximum number of urban population is living. And fringe areas are also there which are around these cities, so they are also developed somehow, but it is mainly the concentration in these cities. But what about other cities? India is so huge and many cities are there, but these are not comparable. A situation where if you draw the map, sorry if it is not good, but I am trying my best. And you see the condition here: Delhi, Chennai, Kolkata and Mumbai. This is the situation. And if we talk about these cities, they are choked, totally choked. Cities like Delhi, in 1 square kilometer, 15,000-16,000 people are living. More than 3 crore people are living in this small geographical area. So that is why all laborers, all other service providers, they are concentrated here. If you talk about the internet service provider, you will see all kinds of service providers here. If we move towards the adjoining villages or adjoining cities, you will find a lot of problems here. And the development aspect and the infrastructural capacities are not that much good in these cities. If other cities are also developed, you suppose this map becomes like that, and cities are developed like these metro cities, then you imagine a situation where they are going very good in the terms of infrastructural abilities. Employment scenario would be really great here. All these the unskilled laborers and all these poor people who are coming from these states and these villages, they will remain in their home state and they will get employment there, because many more support systems are available in these cities also. Okay, and they don't need to move towards Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai or Kolkata. And because these local laborers are available there, if they are earning suppose 15,000 rupees in Delhi, and if that person is coming from eastern UP or Bihar, then if he gets employment there in Bihar only, then he would adjust there for 12,000 rupees a month, and that would be a better condition for him, because it is not possible to survive in Delhi with dignity with 15,000 rupees, but it would be very easy for them to survive in the cities of Bihar with 12,000 rupees a month. So this is how we can balance this situation, and this total imbalanced growth and unmanaged urbanization process in India, that has created a havoc here. And now why I am explaining this issue to you, because the employment aspect is central to it, all these issues, and the biggest problem today is of unemployment. India is a young nation. 65% people are youth. If they do not get employment, what they are going to do? They will destroy this nation, because this energy is uncontrolled. If this is not channeled, then they are gonna bring disaster to our economy. So many programs were there, Amrut program and Atal other smart cities mission, they are there, but they are not doing much in terms of infrastructure development and in terms of employment opportunities and their increase. It is not doing much. And if you talk about the smart cities mission, we cannot give a proper data that how many cities have converted into smart cities or how many cities are totally transformed. We cannot say about that. So that is why we need a program like Narega in urban areas, where all these employments, they would remain same, Okay, you take the example where parents are sending their kids to their schools, and from schools these taxi services, they are bringing these kids back, but there are many crimes, child abuse crimes, accidents are there because these people are not authenticated. If the same thing is coming through a route that is authenticated, and if these people are recruited through the urban employment programs, then the responsibility of the government would be there, and this would be a trustable system. So the same services would be there, but they would be routed through a particular proper system. And these kind of programs, Narega like programs in urban areas, can make these things real, and they can balance this country's growth also. So we need a proper backing of the law here, as this Narega program has the backing of law. It's an act. So this kind of acts are needed in urban areas, and this particular thing can be a great agenda for these parties which are going to contest the election, and this can be a very positive move, and this is something that we should do on a priority. Okay, so this is given in this article, and all these examples, all these suggestions are very important. Here it is talking about that a guarantee is 100 days in a year can be given, 500 days, 500 rupees a day can be paid to these people. Green jobs are very important. Green spaces, management of water bodies, wastelands, woody areas, these are very crucial to these urban areas. And you see the jobs like domestic helps, nursings, and managing the senior citizens situation, where their own family members, they are involved in jobs and all, they don't have much time to manage the domestic work, and they are not able to give proper time to their parents and their older ones. So here these kind of works can be given to these authenticated people which are gonna be employed by these urban employment programs. So this can be a great system. It's kind of a great ecosystem, and it will provide employment, and it will have a multiplier impact in the economy, because not only employment would be given by these kind of schemes. The way things are changing because of Narega in the rural areas, this is not only the positive impact, this will run like a cycle, a positive cycle. Normally we see in India there are negative cycles, but this is going to be the positive cycle, where economy would be improved, infrastructure would be developed, and the management of the cities would be possible. If they are managing the hygienic situations of a city, then nothing can be better than that, and these people are employed here. But you see, this model actually does not suit these political parties. The system of welfare schemes during election times, that suits them well, and that is why they are not having the political will to implement these kind of programs. So these kind of discussions are needed, so that pressure can be mounted on these parties, so that they take these kind of decisions. So these can be a game changer here. Okay, and it will not cost much, because only 1.7 to 2.7% of the GDP per year, that would be the spending if we bring this kind of scheme. And that should be apart from Narega. It should not replace Narega. Narega would be for the rural area, and that should be bolstered as a move, and this particular program would be for the urban areas, and they both would go hand in hand, and many more cooperations you will find there, because situations are totally different with the metro cities and in the adjoining areas. If you go 10 to 20 kilometers away from cities like Delhi, Chennai, you will find the most backward villages there, and the thinking of the people is still the same. They do not take advantage of the city area, because it is totally a mismanaged and imbalanced growth. So that is why these things are needed, and apprenticeship and skilling programs can be there. For example, you may pay them 30,000 rupees per month for 5 months, so that they can be skilled, and many more skilled jobs can be available for these people, and ultimately this would have the multiplier impact on the economy. Okay, so this is the thing. And one more important positive impact would be that the people would develop a shared sense of public goods. They will be much more attached to their cities, to their areas, and more responsible citizens would be there. Okay, and this is the time that is ripe for employment guarantee program in urban India. So this is all given in this article. Next, regarding the Jet Airways issue, as I told you, Jet Airways, its chief and his wife, they both have stepped down, they have resigned, and now most of these planes of Jet Airways, they are grounded and the services are no more working. But the issue of payments to these employees, it's a major problem here. Now Etihad service, the second biggest service in UAE, that is proposing something here. You see, in 2015 the NIIF was announced, National Infrastructure Investment Fund. That is the first sovereign wealth fund of India. It is having multiple funds under it. And what are these funds for? These funds are for investing in very basic areas like ports and highways and railways, infrastructural investments, and airline industries and all. So they are investing in all these areas, whether these are greenfield projects or brownfield projects. Greenfield means starting from the scratch. Brownfield means some kind of renovation or some kind of upgradation. When it will go on, then these are brownfield projects. So for all these basic projects, all these infrastructural projects and asset creating projects, this sovereign wealth fund was created. Okay, and this was NIIF announced in the budget 15-16. So UAE actually took the stakes here, and it has stakes here. $1 billion was given by UAE in this National Infrastructural Fund, where government has the biggest stake. So it can use that fund and it can leverage the situation from here, and it can support Jet Airways airlines. That is totally in the docs today. Okay, so we need to learn about this NIIF. As I told you, 15 it was announced, and roads, ports, airports, power, all these sectors, investment is there in these sectors. And there are three important funds: master fund, fund of funds, and a strategic investment fund. Okay, fund of funds is for some specific areas. Strategic, as the name says, it's a very specific one, and master fund is mainly for the infrastructural investment purposes. Okay, next information is regarding the data ownership. You see, from 1st of February, the new e-commerce companies guidelines, they are applicable, and heavy protests are there from these e-commerce giants. And Flipkart has been bought by Walmart, that is an American company. Amazon is also an American company. So because of this particular move, we have invited the flag of America, and they are now ending the system of generalized system of preference and the preferential trade agreement. They are under threat, and 60 days are given for the discussion, and after that this GSP would end. So these e-commerce, they are the future, and anyhow we need to adjust with that, because internet is the future. Everything is gonna be digitized, and as this commerce, all these businesses are going to be so draft e-commerce policy is going on, as consultations and discussions are going on with this particular move, and it is not finalized yet. The draft is in making. So the core issue is of the data ownership, because as I told you, the internet governance is a matter of debate for this whole world, because data centers are there in some selected countries, and we do not own all the data. If you talk about Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, Twitter, they're all data centers. They are there in other countries, mainly in America. And if we have ownership here over our data, over our important digital platforms and all, then we may make many laws, we may manage this whole situation, and this particular whole virtual world would be supported by our own agencies, by our own state. So we need data ownership here. And mainly when we talk about the businesses, the e-commerce giants and all, then the data ownership becomes much more crucial here. Okay, for example, if you understand the problem here, if you go and search something as a product on internet, you close your system. After 10 days you come to the same system and you open a different website, but you would see the similar advertisement for those things for whom you were searching 10 days back. So this data is actually taken by these companies, and they actually in a way capture your preferences, capture your interests, and according to that they manage their own advertisements, so that more specific advertisements are released by these companies, and that is actually very handy for these companies. So that is why they need much more data ownership within our country. And when it becomes possible, then it would be easy for these companies also, that if any kind of corruption issue would be there, then it may become a problem. Because whatever what do you see in India? It's a corporate and political nexus. If these corporate companies are e-commerce giants, or maybe these are companies from abroad or something like that, then also the data ownership is a very important issue, and the governance of the data and management of this virtual world is a very important thing for the future. So we need to see how we are coming with this draft policy, what kind of provisions would be there. Discussions are going on, all these issues are going on, but the policy added that business models of companies are increasingly centered around data, with targeted advertisements and personalized recommendations. Okay, so the same issue that I discussed with you. So government put out the draft e-commerce policy in February and had invited comments from all stakeholders till March 29. So we need to see this thing. Next, Israel unveils world's longest salt cave. Now I'm giving you a map question. Locate Dead Sea on the world map. Which are the countries which is it is dividing? Where is Lake Van? They both are salty lakes. Lake Van is the saltiest one. So Israel is the area where in the nearby areas these are located. I'm giving you a hint here, and there this longest salt cave is unveiled. Maybe they have discovered this area. So it's a question of geography. Now these are important MCQs. Try to look their additional data, additional information. Directly or indirectly, you will have these questions in the prelims examination this year, and the PDF you will get on the Telegram channel. The link is given on my Facebook group. You can send me a request and I would approve. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sani.